You know, chums, if there's one thing that we've learned with the relationship with Meghan and Harry, Markle and Harry, is the fact that she's very good at putting on a painted face, you know? Doesn't matter what's going on, she smiles throughout because she knows that any slip, any mass slip will be seized upon, and you know, you can see exactly how she's feeling and what's really going on behind the scenes.
Meghan and Harry just wrapped their quasi-royal Australia tour, and body language experts are noticing serious tension. This video breaks down how their different approaches to fame are creating visible cracks in their marriage. The speaker nails something crucial about performative relationships versus authentic ones.
Harry, very petulant, very much likes to let the world know that he's unhappy or happy, depending on what mood he's in. Now, I've often thought this, and I don't know if you agree with me, chums, but it cannot be easy living with somebody like Prince Harry, who, in my opinion, despite all the wealth, everything given to him, a wonderful education, a warm, loving family, and yes, some tragedy, but that happens in all families, well, it's never enough.
This psychological profile matches what we've seen repeatedly, the victimhood narrative despite extraordinary privilege. Research shows partners with chronic victim mentality create exhausting relationship dynamics. When one person is constantly fragile, the other becomes a perpetual caretaker, which breeds resentment over time.
You know, he's always the professional victim. And according to people that have worked there, he's pleasant and he's kind, but he's always, shall we say, on the edge, you know, the sort of person that could easily fall apart if you said the wrong thing. The word fragile comes up a lot, right? And this is simply because Harry doesn't like to face reality.
Multiple palace insiders have confirmed this emotional volatility. Clinical studies show that when one partner requires constant emotional management, it creates unsustainable relationship pressure. The staged public appearances become performance art to mask private instability, exactly what we're seeing in Australia.
And this is now the huge problem for Meghan and Harry. Over in Australia, they perfected this thing of, oh, you know, we're great, we're holding hands, things are terrific, her clasping her chest, just seemingly because she's entered a children's hospital, like she didn't know all of these people were going to be wheeled out for her delectation and delight. Harry, of course, still understands and doesn't look for the camera the way Markle does. He's used to cameras. She thrives and lives for it. And there lies your problem of a crack in their marriage.
The camera-seeking behavior difference is stark. She performs every gesture for maximum media impact, while he operates on royal training instincts. This creates authentic versus calculated dynamics that audiences subconsciously detect. Their Australia footage shows her constantly positioning for photographers, while he looks genuinely uncomfortable.
This is really igniting flames, let me tell you, because behind the scenes, they may be smiles, but behind the scenes there are cracks appearing. And this often happens in celebrity marriages, you know, because they can't control it. You know, they try, but they can't control it. They pretend they're grateful for each other. Even the greatest, you know, think about it, Vivian Leigh and Laurence Olivier, behind the scenes, each was looking at each other's reviews and, of course, how well their box offices did, all of that sort of stuff. It's just human nature.
The Vivian Leigh-Laurence Olivier parallel is perfect. Two stars competing for spotlight destroyed their marriage, despite public adoration. Celebrity couples face unique pressures when both seek individual attention. The competitive dynamic becomes toxic when one partner consistently outmaneuvers the other for headlines and sympathy.
Now, Harry and Meghan, as you know, perfected this down to a fine art because he's just given in, capitulated, walked over, waiting to let her have the moment. Remember, he's always the one having to send letters and tributes and stuff and write things on the podcasts of how terrific she is, how wonderful. You never see her doing it vice versa, do you?
This one-sided public praise pattern reveals everything about their power dynamic. He constantly validates her publicly while she never reciprocates. Classic relationship imbalance. His isolation from family support systems makes him dependent on her approval, creating an unhealthy codependent cycle that's visible in their interactions.
Markle once again wheeled out that old chestnut about how she was the most trolled person in the world, etc. Well, that happens when you tell lies, right? Particularly, for instance, when you tell lies like, I didn't help with a tell-all book to deride and upset my husband's family. Then you find out that you did.
Her Australia trolling comments are pure deflection strategy. When caught in lies like secretly cooperating with Finding Freedom authors after denying it under oath, she immediately plays victim to redirect attention. This pattern of deception followed by martyrdom creates relationship trust issues that compound over time.
Again, where this gets really interesting is Harry did his speech at mental health, the usual thing, you know, poor me, my mother, blah, blah, blah. What's wrong with that? Well, it's always about box office, column inches, who did what. Then Meghan, of course, appeared, will be appearing, but launched her appearance coming up on Australian MasterChef. This has wiped Harry's chat about his own personal traumas and endeavours and all of that sort of stuff, quite literally blown it away, smithereens. This is a problem because he is unhappy.
The timing sabotage is calculated. She announced MasterChef appearance right after his mental health speech, completely overshadowing his moment. This pattern of stealing his spotlight during vulnerable moments shows zero emotional intelligence or partnership respect. His visible frustration in Australia reflects this accumulated resentment.
She's had to placate him, right, Meghan? And the bottom line is he doesn't want, he still sees himself as the #1 royal. Meghan, yes, is popular. Meghan, yes, can wear the outfits that apparently all you ladies want to wear. But the bottom line is that she knows exactly the sort of things to say to get the headlines. Anybody else knowing that her husband's talk about mental health and his crises and everything else that he's gone through, you might have not brought up that well-worn chestnut about being a troll person.
Her media strategy prioritizes personal headlines over his well-being every time. Any supportive partner would coordinate timing to avoid undermining their spouse's important work. Instead, she weaponizes her victim narrative precisely when it damages his initiatives most. This calculated selfishness destroys marriages from within.
But again, Meghan knows that this would have made the front pages, the headlines. A little bit like announcing to the world that she's now, of course, Meghan Sussex or Meghan Duchess of Sussex, and appearing as a celebrity judge on a TV cooking show. She knows that this is going to wipe Harry off the Richter scale. He's the one pulling in the money. He is the star name. She is the just also ran, trading on the fact that she was lucky enough to meet and marry into one of the world's most famous families.
The MasterChef Duchess title usage, while he does actual charitable work, perfectly illustrates the problem. She's monetizing his royal status while contributing nothing substantive. Their marketability comes entirely from his family connections, yet she consistently undermines the source of their joint value proposition.
But really, when you think about it, his press intrusion is right next to him. She's not going to stop. She loves the limelight too much. And even if you watch them out and about and, up and down in Australia, what you see is Meghan continually looking for the camera to make sure that that paparazzi gets that ideal shot. Harry genuinely in his mind believes people are interested in what he's got to say. Some are. Some might suggest, though, it's his wife that isn't. She likes to make sure she gets the headlines first.
The supreme irony. He married someone who embodies everything he claimed to hate about press intrusion. She actively courts the paparazzi attention he spent years complaining about. Their Australia footage shows her constantly camera hunting, while he looks increasingly miserable beside her performative displays.
And behind the scenes, cracks are genuinely appearing.
Their Australia appearances confirm these relationship tensions are becoming impossible to hide. Despite professional PR management, their body language shows strain, competitive dynamics, and mismatched priorities. The cracks are widening into visible fissures that even their most polished public performances can't fully conceal anymore.